Welcome to part 4 of my homebrew video. You can see I've covered the carboy with a t-shirt, Star Wars. I would never wear this, I'm much too old. But anyway, I've left this in here for a little while. You can see the airlock is not showing very much activity, so it's about time to bottle it. The first thing I'm going to do is sanitize my bottles. I've got what's called a redneck bottle tree here, which is looks a lot like the bottom of a dishwasher, but anyway, you put the bottles in there, and I'm going to use this steamer to sanitize the bottles. You can use a lot of different chemical solutions. The iodophor works great, but this I think is a lot more fun, and my wife has this, and so I'm going to use it. Okay, this steamer is something we got for from a website called JustRenewIt.com, and they sell these steamers. That's it right there. It's almost $1,000 once you pay for shipping. But it works really good. My wife got it for other purposes, of course. And I'm just going to use it to put steam inside of here. The steamer nozzle looks like this. The idea is to steam the bottles up. They get really hot. And then sanitizes it and kills all the germs. I should mention it's a good idea to always use distilled water in your steamer. That way you never have to worry about any mineral deposits developing. And using a steamer to superheat your bottles is a good way to figure out which ones are too thin. Because if they're too thin, they will break. And these other ones are great, and we're ready to go. Of course, an important part when you're bottling is to always put priming sugar in. What's going to happen is the yeast that is still alive in that bottle, there's a little bit left, is going to eat the sugar, and it's going to make carbon dioxide, and that's going to actually cause carbonation in your bottles, so it'll actually taste like beer instead of a bunch of flat syrup. So I'm going to go put a little bit of distilled water in here, and I'm going to add the sugar, I'm going to dissolve it, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I've got my bottling bucket. I'm putting it on top of some bricks here. It's been totally sanitized, of course. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my sugar water, 5 ounces of sugar, priming sugar, and just a little bit of distilled water. I'll put that in first, and then I'm going to start siphoning off my beer from my carboy using an auto siphon. Those of you who've actually brewed a lot may notice that I'm not going from a primary to a secondary. I just did all my fermentation in this one bottle, and the reason I can do that is because I used a blow-off tube with I think the beer was all the way up to here whenever I started, the wort was, and it took off all those all the foam, and I'm actually going to end up with some pretty clear beer. It's going into the bottling bucket now. You want to put the tube way down at the bottom so you don't want to get too many bubbles in there. That's supposed to be bad for it. So the idea is pretty simple. You take a beer bottle which has been sanitized. You put it into the bottling spigot. This is one of those little spring-loaded things. When you push down on the bottom, the beer comes out. Takes a while. These are the big bottles. It just takes too darn long to fill up the little bottles. Anyway. Okay, so we got a bottle, there's just a little bit of airspace on the top, which is good. We're going to take this, which is a bottle cap which has been soaking in iodophor solution, put it on top there. Or you can use this bottle cap installer and put that on there. Okay, so now we have one bottle of beer. We'll leave that for about 2 weeks and let it ferment and develop some carbon dioxide. So I was able to bottle about 1.5 cases of beer bottles, and now comes the fun part. I get to sample some of this stuff. You have to let this sit for about 2 weeks, and then after 2 weeks you can it should be carbonated and you can give it a shot. So this is the final step. It's been 2 weeks. Actually, I just cracked open a beer from my last batch, but you know, you can't buy beer like this. Ah, that is some good porter. Anyway, if you'd like to see, like to get a copy of the spreadsheet that I use, and any other information, some links and stuff, I'm going to put them on my website ls1m.com. But if you'll excuse me, I've got some home brew that I want to drink.